welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Matcha, where we dive into the bittersweet moments of the teenage experience. Just like matcha, both can often be messy and imperfect, but that's what makes them beautiful in the end. With that, thank you so much for tuning in today. I have a super special guest with me here today. I'll definitely let her get more into her background, but let's welcome Sophia.
Hi! Thank you so much for the warm introduction, Sophia. Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm a rising senior and I'm based in San Francisco. I'm a huge mental health advocate. I've interned at the UCSF Teen Wellness Connection program, and I currently work at the Stanford Center for Youth Mental Health and Wellbeing. And I'm also the founder of BeYOUty, where we put on self-care events and uplift girls in the SF Bay Area community. And we're doing monthly free events if you're into that, so stay tuned. And I just want to say thank you so much. It's definitely my honor to be on the amazing Let's Talk Matcha podcast. I mean, just look at this setup. Let's give Sophia her flowers. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, thank you so much. It's literally an honor because, guys, let me tell you. I'm just going to preface this. I met Sophia because she just recently hosted the She Leads Women's Leadership Conference in SF for BeYOUty. And let me tell you, when I saw what BeYOUty was and the whole concept of it, I was like, I need to get in on this. So I literally reached out to her. And basically, I mean, you can describe BeYOUty better than I can. But from an outside perspective, like, first off, the name, it's like BeYouty. So it's like the wordplay was literally so cute. And I remember like looking through their Instagram account and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen an initiative that not only empowers young girls and people, but also integrates self-care activities into it.
Yes.
So we get into that.
Yeah. So I founded BeYOUty in my sophomore year, and it kind of relates to what we're going to talk about today, right? Growing up in the Bay Area, it is just really emphasized that you need to chase ambition. And with that, there's not a lot of dirt spaces where people can just be, can reflect, can practice self-care. And the whole point of BeYOUty is, showing up for yourself and uplifting those around you. So we've done yoga workshops, painting workshops with guest therapists, mental health kits. We've done a leadership conference. So there's a wide variety of free inclusive programming that we do here at BeYOUty. And when you come to this event, I just want you to have fun. All of our guests feel super empowered to start their own initiatives, and it is just an awesome space to get to know one another if you just want to do something fun on a Sunday. But it also can get deep and be a space for you to be free and talk about your mental health.
Yeah, I literally love that so much. And I think so many like young girls in the Bay Area need that, especially because of the pressure that a lot of Bay Area teens experience. But I think that Sophia and I really wanted to dive deep into that today because I feel like not that many people talk about it.
It's a little taboo, but hey, it's important that we bring awareness to it and kind of redefine what it means to be successful in a healthy and productive way for yourself. And that's really important. So I definitely wanted to talk about that. I just want to preface, I go to a large public high school in San Francisco, and it is quite competitive there. So I've definitely had my fair share, but I definitely know that the Bay Area is big. Literally meeting Sophia has been a life-changing just moment because Sophia doesn't go to school in SF, but she's been to some leadership conferences here. Do you want to talk about your experience?
Yeah. So I would definitely say I'm not in SF, but I am like Bay Area based as well. I have been going to a lot of leadership conferences, especially because there's a lot of youth-led initiatives in the city. And coming into those events, I just started going my sophomore year. But when I went into those events to speak at it and things like that, not gonna lie, I was really intimidated.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, like, even though I was, like, a presenter at most of these events, I just felt like the kids at these conferences were doing such amazing things. Like, I kid you not, I would walk into the doors and all of a sudden I see these kids like, oh yeah, like, I intern at this multi-million startup, and I'm like,
damn.
You what?
Damn.
Like,
good for them.
No, literally, and it's like, it's so good for them to be getting these good, amazing experiences at such young ages. But there's also, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one who experienced that level of intimidation.
Oh, for sure.
So I was just wondering, like, when you think back to growing up in San Francisco, what stands out to you most about the culture surrounding success and achievement among teenagers?
Yeah, like you said, in the Bay Area, you're surrounded by Silicon Valley, tech, medicine, prestige. And I think a big part of the culture here is that resume building is kind of a way to get status, right? Like, people really, it's almost a flex to not have sleep, to do a lot and overwhelm yourself. And, you know, when you're conversing with someone might say, same, or I actually had 3 hours of sleep. And it's almost like a competition to kind of self-destruct for academic strain and those type of things. And so it's way too normalized. We definitely need more sleep than that. And I think today, we really are going to like shed light on that and kind of talk more about it, because floating among SF, like in the high school environment, it's so normalized that meeting you and you giving me the context of what you see on the outside kind of brought like, wow, like that's a new perspective that I had yet to know. And so thank you for like literally telling me what's outside. It's sometimes you get stuck in the bubble.
I've talked to people from Texas who go to large competitive public high schools. I've talked to people from New York and the East Coast, and I think we can all agree that there are some schools that are just really competitive, and the students who are just drowning can all agree that we need more advocacy on this.
Yes.
And we just need more people to talk about it. So I think it's great. But what did this pressure look like for you personally?
Yeah. So this pressure, definitely I could talk about my experiences and also what I've seen from my peers. You would find yourself staying up, you know, outreaching for a club or studying for a test. Maybe you come home from doing a sport and you still have like 3 hours of extracurriculars and studying for tests. And it took a lot of like toll on my health, honestly. I started sleeping really late during my sophomore year. And also with my friends, it's almost like normal if I go to class and they're like, yeah, I stayed up till 3 last night to study, which is glad you got that information in, but I promise, like, sleep is really important, like, health as well. So I've also experienced, like, the upsides of it where it's, like, because there's so much opportunity and people do kind of push you to do more, you find your niche. And I'm gonna tell you this. Every top leader I've met, they've found their niche through trial and error. It is okay to absolutely put yourself out there, seize the opportunities. Every founder, leader I know love what they do. And so on the topic of resume building, right, you really want to find what makes you kind of feel like the work is effortless. When you love something, it shouldn't take over your life. And if it does, that's okay. Like, you can be really passionate about something, but know your limits. For me, in my sophomore year, I took on a lot of different leadership roles spanning across like mental health, environmental justice, leadership, public policy, a lot of different things. And I found my niche, and I wouldn't have if I didn't go through that experience. So I would say it's okay to put yourself out there, be ambitious, but at the end of the day, it's important that you hone in on what you like and, yeah, just explore, but also know that it's not good to spread yourself thin.
Totally. And I think, like, on that topic, a lot of people are like, if you try, like, too many different things, like, oh, like, does she even know what she wants to do and things like that? And it's like, guys, you don't have to know what you want to do. And I think that, like, right now in this society, in this day and age, we are so stuck in this idea that we have to have everything figured out. Like, you have to know your major at 17 years old. You have to know, like, everything from 15 years from now, have that mapped out. I feel like when I talk to a lot of my classmates or just a lot of people who are my age, they're like, it's crazy out here. Like, it's scary. It's like, I don't know what I want to do. And it's okay. And I think that, like, sometimes I think when I talk to other people or when other people see that, like, what I'm doing with the podcast and things like that, they're like, oh my God, like, she must have everything figured out. She must have everything set in stone. She has her life figured out. I don't have my life figured out. I think that, like, everybody who, you know, is a student leader, who's a captain of the varsity volleyball team, we're all just kind of like faking it till we make it.
Yes, no one has it figured out, okay? At my recent leadership conference, that was such a big takeaway. No one has to figure it out. When you see LinkedIn headlines, when you see people post and they're at this like great startup, interning at amazing nonprofits, amazing. But don't be quick to assume that they have everything figured out, because the secret is that they don't. They probably had advantages, disadvantages, late nights, or maybe they got a connection. The beauty of it is that you don't know. So at the end of the day, don't ever compare yourself to someone else. If you see an opportunity that inspires you, maybe ask, but don't be quick to feel less than, feel insecure, because you don't know what's going on behind those doors. And trust me, they don't have it figured out. Like, I don't have it figured out. Like, ain't nobody got it figured out.
Literally. And what message do you think that Bay Area students receive about what it means to be successful?
Yeah, I would say it's the overall message is you are worth your resume. It's indirectly coming at you. Like, this isn't a message that people are just saying in your face, but I would say people get treated differently based upon how many internships they hold or what school do you go to. And it's almost like your identity is tied down to what you do, and they don't see you as a person. And that is just such a flawed message. So I struggle with this. Sometimes I'm like advocating in the mental health space and talking about how we should definitely prioritize ourselves and do more self-care. But I also catch myself like staying up, kind of sometimes falling into doing a lot of work like a workaholic. And it almost feels like a double-edged sword. I feel like I'm contradicting myself sometimes, and I'm still trying to figure it out, right? But I think when I'm grounding myself into, like, reminding myself that I'm not tied to my resume, I'm a person outside of my work, it helps me so much.
I 100% relate to that, because I think, like, having this podcast, trying to amplify young voices, trying to tell and empower people that it's okay to have these bittersweet moments, I oftentimes feel like I don't really deserve to have a platform if I myself am struggling with these issues. But then I have come to the realization that having a podcast, having a student-led initiative, it also helps yourself.
Literally,
right?
It healed. Okay, and that's the thing, guys. Good passion projects come from a need that you wanted. You're building something that low-key heals you. And I could see it genuinely does. You're so passionate about this. That's what makes it great. So, yes, no. I also think that while you're achieving all the other things, you do get a little bit of lived experience. And like you said, like healing part of yourself. And still, like, you're going through that journey, but almost like you're helping others and yourself.
Some people ask me, like, when you started the podcast, like, was it just for college? And I'm just like, no. Like, I mean, nowadays it's so common to start a student-led initiative, start a nonprofit, start a club, be a varsity athlete. But at the end of the day, like, if you're not enjoying, like you said, if you're not enjoying what you do, then what's the point? I think, like, the reason why I started the podcast was because I wanted to hear from other people's stories. I am such an extroverted person. I love hearing about what other people experience in their life. I love hearing about their upbringing. So having a podcast was just my outlet. Mm-hmm. And I think that, like, even if you're not in the Bay Area, if you're just in a competitive high school, if you're just feeling behind in society today, like, just understand that you don't even need to have a passion project or, like, a nonprofit. Like, you don't have to do anything extravagant. Something that I learned from this leadership camp that I just went to was that to be a leader, you don't have to be the loudest in the room. You don't have to do anything extravagant. You don't have to do anything grand. You just have to do something that's you.
Yes, be you.
Exactly. BeYOUty.
BeYOUty. Yeah. I would say leadership is not the title you hold. It's not how well you can put yourself ahead of others. It's about how well you can uplift those around you, how safe you can make other people feel and empower them. And that's true leadership.
This isn't going to relate to everyone, so this is low-key, like, target audience specifically. I always get so worried because, I mean, I feel like a lot of people see me as, like, the girl who has a podcast, the girl who's, like, on student council and super involved, and it's like, if I make a mistake, like, what are they gonna think of me? As much as I try to advocate to, like, not compare yourself to other people, like, again, I also feel these same feelings, and it's just really hard because, like, I'll put it into, like, a sports reference. Let's say that, like, you're the varsity team captain of something, or like you're the star player, the MVP. If you make a mistake during a game, like, how is that going to make you feel? Especially, like, at large public high schools in the Bay Area and competitive areas and in college, too. There's always going to be people who are one step ahead of you. There's always going to be people who are one step behind you, but we're all on our own timeline.
Yes,
and that's what
we
matters the
are.
most. With your own experiences that you've had at growing up in the Bay Area, how did that lead you to find BeYOUty and even becoming involved at Stanford, UCSF?
Yeah, so the whole mission of this was to take time to pause, to reflect, to practice self-care rooted in community. I truly believe that going to social events and putting yourself out there is so healing and therapeutic, and just practicing self-care in ways that you might not have the opportunity to, like doing yoga, free yoga classes, doing painting with your friends. Those are like so taken for granted, right? Like just choosing and being intentional of, I choose myself today and I want to go to this attend this fun workshop and take a moment to pause, was a huge thing for me. Like in high school, I did feel a little bit isolated in the beginning. I was trying to find my community. I almost kind of felt like I created BeYOUty because I wanted to find my own community, and it did. It really healed a part of me. And one of my favorite moments is after a workshop, I'll like skip down the street. I'm like, oh, like people showed up today and they looked like they were having fun, and I just feel truly so fulfilled. And so after creating this student-led initiative, I wanted to kind of take it beyond my immediate community, right? So I joined the UCSF Teen Wellness Program. So much fun. It was a 9-month internship, and I got to talk to a lot of clinicians, researchers about minority stress, eating disorders, just all types of mental health topics. And that's when I knew there's more work to be done here. And so creating that summit and even leading a workshop of my own within it taught me a lot. There are interests here. There are a lot of high school students. I mean, we have over 150 guests come, right? And we all had one simple goal, which is to be vulnerable, to talk about mental health, to open up and be just lean on each other. And so I was seeing that there is interest of talking about mental health, and it doesn't have to be this taboo topic, and it does not have to be stigmatized and worsened in a high school context. So I took that even further to a state level when I joined the Stanford Center. And one thing I really want to emphasize is every city has like their own needs, right? Like every city has its own mental health climate. Here at the center, there are 11 Alt Club centers, which are like kind of city hubs where folks can go in for free and do fun experience. It's kind of like a BeYOUty, but at every city, which I love. And here at the center, we do advising, but we have to take into account that every city has a different approach. So it's important that we have like culturally responsive mental health programs, and not just mental health as a one size fits all, because that's not ever how it's going to be. So I appreciate how we're talking about what it means for like the SF Bay Area hustle culture, and really zooming in on that because it's pretty important. So just through all my work, I definitely felt that it was a combination of my lived experiences, what I've done in my immediate community, and how I want to expand that and really take it to a national level to help others destigmatize mental health, talk about it with their friends, their parents, and be a community leader. And I love organizing for the community, so it's just been really fulfilling for me.
Yeah, I love that. And oh my gosh, can we just talk about, remember our first FaceTime call? Dude.
Yes, I do.
That was like, okay, context, guys, that was like the most empowering 2 hours of my life. It was amazing because I remember like we talked about this idea of like the Bay Area hustle culture and like what it's like to go to a competitive high school. Like, I vividly remember us talking about this, how like the different parts of the Bay Area are so different. Each city is not the same. And just to be able to talk with Sophia about what it's like growing up in SF, and for me, like what it's like growing up in the suburbs of the Bay Area, it's just
very different.
Yeah, and it was also just very empowering because like we talked about what it was like to quit stuff.
We should definitely highlight that in this context of what it means to succeed, right? So, again, going back to how I said I was involved with a lot of initiatives and also some teams at my school, when I quit those certain things, I definitely felt lost. And I think that's a common feeling of when you're abandoning your identity almost, it can also feel like you're failing at something that you're no longer on the right track to succeeding. It hit me really hard. It made me just discouraged. And I know for you, like, what did that mean for you to maybe take a step back from something?
Yeah, so I can actually totally relate to that. I literally remember telling you how. So I've played club volleyball since I was 9 years old. So from 9 years old to 16 years old, and you know what? Junior year, I'm not playing club anymore. And I think that was a very, very big decision for me because as much as I love volleyball and playing at such a competitive level, some things have to give way. I think that, like, sometimes you have to take a step back in order to recharge. And for me, that meant quitting club. And okay, the word quitting is just so like thrown around. It's like a derogative word, like, oh, you quit, like you're a failure, you're weak. No. If anything, I'm becoming stronger because I'm able to reconnect with volleyball in an unconventional way. So instead of doing club volleyball and going out to out-of-state tournaments and having practice 4 days a week, I'm also, by the way, I'm still going to play varsity, but after varsity season, I'm just going to do private lessons so I can schedule things on my own terms. And I think that, like, because sometimes when you have such a rigid schedule, it's hard to not get lost. So when you can kind of be the own manager of your schedule, aside from school, it really helps you a lot. And I just think that, like, it goes to show that, like, don't think of quitting something as being a failure or being weak. Just think about, like, can you really take it on? Or, like, and also think, is it consuming your life? I think that's something that, like, a lot of people don't really think about. They just think it's normal to be busy every day. They think it's normal to have that Google Calendar filled up.
The damn Google Calendar, all the different colors.
No, literally. And it's like, just take a step back.
See, right there, you just took your life back. You, as a person, you had the agency to control your own schedule, to meet with your passion for volleyball on your own terms. That's powerful, Sophia. Like, you should really give yourself a lot of grace for that.
Thank you.
That's hard. Yeah, I mean, I love to dance, and I would love to reconnect with dance one day, but sometimes it's not always at the forefront. You can always go back to something, right? I just want to remind you that if you find yourself abandoning a title or quitting something that you really loved and you've done for a long time, you are not failing, and it's part of the process. Failure means when you give up. When you give up something that you love and you decide that I'm not going to try it anymore, that is failing. But pivoting, taking a moment to pause, reconnecting, recharging, that is beautiful. And that is part of the process.
You couldn't have said that better. Literally, you could not have said that better. I just think that, like, so many people need to hear that because, like I like how you said abandoning a leadership title. I think that, like, let's say you step down from being the president. Yeah, it's like, guys, in 10 years, are you really going to think about that? Like, no, probably not. And so you've also worked with, like, mental health professionals from UCSF and Stanford. And has that given you a different perspective about your take on youth mental health?
Definitely. So I think a main concern of that youth have with accessing mental health is that they don't feel it's personalized for them. With both my UCSF internship and my Stanford internship, I would say they are great in a way that it's youth-driven. You are co-designers of the summit you make. You're the co-designers of the type of feedback and the initiatives that you would like to put on for your community, right? And that's so important. I think working with industry professionals, it taught me a lot that your voice matters at the table. You deserve to shape the resources that our generation and you will access, including mental health care. So if you have a concern or you would like to implement something in a program, whether that be in part of the environment, part of your school, it's important that you voice that because you're probably not the only person that thinks that. And so it's been super empowering to, like, share my stories and find a way to channel that into a passion and bringing it to professionals to implement them into the different programs. And I encourage you to do the same if you're passionate about something.
I love that so much. And I like how you said everybody's voices matter.
Yes.
That's super, super important. And we also touched up on that at my leadership conference or assembly that I just went to. So I just did an overnight camp for 6 days, and I met such amazing people. Shout out to you guys. And it was just so amazing because these people were coming from literally all over the country. Like people from Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, Texas, New Mexico, and Louisiana. And we all came together. We were all student leaders. And it was really empowering because, you know what, when you're in a room of such amazing people who are all super involved in their school and their community, oftentimes you're going to think that maybe your idea doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, everybody's voice, everybody's idea, everybody's story does matter because you never know who may be able to take away something from what you said.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as much as it's easier said than done, but never, ever be scared to share your idea. As long as you have good intentions, I think that's all that matters.
Literally, some of the most rewarding things I've experienced after founding BeYOUty was a girl came up to me after I hosted a annual gala with her idea was, a girl was like, yeah, I joined this fellowship because I saw you did it last year and it really inspired me to create something on my own. Or when one of our first attendees at our workshop series, she then went on to create her own, fitness group and empower other young girls in the community. So someone out there wants to be part of your initiative. They want to validate the issue that you want to address. And there are people that are going to champion behind you. I mean, look at your podcast. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. There's always going to be someone that wants to hear your idea.
We are getting to the last question, and that's, if you could change one thing about the culture that young people experience here in the Bay Area, what would it be?
If I could change one thing, it is definitely you are not tied to other people's perceptions. You might only know someone because they do X, Y, and Z. And I've definitely experienced it's Sophia from Let's Help Matcha.
Yeah.
But Sophia's a daughter. She's an amazing friend. She's an awesome leader. She does volleyball. She's a student athlete, right? You really have to take the time to know someone outside of that. And just be kind to yourself. Be kind to those around you. Even if someone looks like they have it all figured out, that is probably not the case. So be on your own journey, be comfortable, and reevaluate any time that you feel like something isn't serving you. Do what you love and love what you do. And if not now, then when? If not you, then who?
Period. I love that. Oh my gosh.
What would you say?
I want there to be more of how do I explain it? I want there to be more intermingling between the different cities in the Bay. I think SF kids, for example, I've talked to a lot of them, and I'm not trying to associate
No shade,
people.
bro. I love SF.
No, yeah, I love SF, but I think that the cities in the Bay, they kind of stay to themselves. And me being in the suburbs, I have to go out of my city to go eat at a good restaurant or go get good dessert and stuff like that. So I've always been very exposed to different parts of the Bay, but that's definitely not everyone. And this also goes to people who are in different states and who are a part of their own respective city. It is amazing to learn from people's perspectives who don't live in the same area as you. You gain so much lived experience just by exploring other areas. I love exploring SF with my friends. I love going to different schools' basketball games or football games and their Friday night lights and stuff. And I just think that talking to other people and talking about the place where they grew up and the different cultures that each city has, it's really empowering. Even when I went to the the overnight assembly that I just went to, I would talk to the kids about growing up in Colorado or growing up in Louisiana. It's so interesting hearing about these people who you wouldn't really think that you'd meet from different states. But you know what? We really do connect over the smallest things, even it's pronouncing different words. It can be scary to go out of your comfort zone and meet people from different areas, but when you meet the right people from different places, that makes all the difference. So.
Yes. The real luxury is meeting other perspectives, lived experiences, and cultures.
Yes. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I had such a great time, and I think that a lot of people will benefit from our conversations. I think that, like, yes, it may be a bit taboo, but it's really good to shed light on this. So
for sure. No, thank you so much for having me on. I hope that if you were listening and you stayed this far, you take away something for yourself and do something nice for yourself this weekend.
Yes. Bye, everyone. See
Bye.
you next episode.
From both Sophias.
Yes, Sophia squared.